For a time, we tried to contact him by radio, but no response.
Yes, y'all. Welcome in to episode 40 of the Dumb Marks Podcast. Your favorite Saturday brunch bunch is back in his ass. Gentlemen, how's everybody doing? Enjoying this smoldering hot weather that we have? I hate Pittsburgh so much.
Last week it was too cold. This week it's too hot.
Well, 50 degrees over a Memorial Day weekend with nothing but rain, and then now it's 90 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. And it's like, you mother... Can't stand it.
So much better than last weekend, though.
So much better. I'm not complaining. I'm just bitching about how it's literally like that drastic of a change in a 7-day window. It's a 45-degree difference out. It's craziness. Jay, is that Britney Spears on your shirt right now?
Yes, it is.
All right, I see where we're at today. That's fine. No, we're good. Uh-huh. Chris, it looks like you're coming to us from parts unknown and undisclosed location. So
undisclosed bunker. Got my alcohol behind me.
I was gonna say that's given
not white alcohol, but
yeah. Nice. All right, let's just hop straight into it. We're gonna run through this intro real quick. A lot of stuff to get into, especially bell to bell this week. We're gonna try something different with the segment. We're gonna switch it up and see what you guys think. So tweet along, Facebook us, let us know what you think of the new format. We're gonna test something out, see how it works out, and try to get through things there a little differently. Always looking to make improvements. So with all that being said, I would ask how everybody's week is, but we got a jam-packed show. So I'm assuming everybody's good. Mental health check-in good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure.
Here.
All right. Word. All right. Well, let's go. Let's kick off the intro. Donald, gaming news. What you got this week?
The only thing I got this week is God of War Ragnarok. I said last week that it was PS5 exclusive, but they announced that it's going to be on PS4 also. And so is Gran Turismo 7. So both of those games will be cross-generational, PS4, PS5.
Nice. I did see I saw that since you brought up PS5, there was a huge restock that happened this week. I know my uncle and my cousin, they were both able to get PS5s. So they were able to get them, but he was trying to buy my other cousin one, and the site crashed on him. So
that sounds familiar.
my other cousin got left holding nothing while them two both got PS5. So my uncle was setting his up in the living room. My cousin was setting his up in the basement. They were both gaming this week. So so big PS5 restock. Don't know how many got put back into circulation or how fast they went. But that was an unexpected turn that I don't think most people were anticipating this week. And then the big E3 gaming convention, they put out their schedule for their, I think it's a 3 or 4 day event with the times and topics and what's going to be featured game wise, announcement wise, who's going to go on what days, so on and so forth. So that came out. I can go ahead and share that on our Facebook page. So if you want to look into that, if you follow along with that live stream wise, or if you're going to the event, you can check that out and get the schedule there. All right. I don't have anything else TV game wise. Movie TV. I did see Marvel Studios officially has 10 projects in post-production.
Wow.
So the Marvel wave, they got started off with WandaVision. Looks like it will not slow down anytime soon. And they are all, coming up on getting finished up, ready for release. Trying to see here if they said anything as far as what they had. Your standard stuff. Loki comes out next week, June 9th. Then July 9th is Black Widow. So that'll start off the big movie push with Phase 4 actually getting going in theaters and getting that started up. So there was that news there. I don't think I had anything else TV wise.
I got one other thing for movies. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet, but HBO Max is going to produce Wedding Crashers 2. The original cast of Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn, Isla Fisher, and Rachel McAdams are all set to return. I'm not really sure how I feel about that 16 years later.
No Will Ferrell?
They didn't say him. But.
Listen, I don't know if you can certain movies aren't meant to be remade, right? The originals are as good as they are. But I mean, we did see with Coming to America too. It's like, all right, even though that was how many, almost 30 years later, it came out and got good reviews and people enjoyed it. So I don't know that it's a long way off from when the first movie came out. To me, this just seems like a cash grab, and I don't know how good it'll be.
Yeah, just the whole concept.
Bring back the Dan Band.
Years later, that's different.
As long as you bring back the Dan Band, I'm good.
I mean, I loved it, but I just don't. I don't know. Not sure how to feel about that, but
yeah.
Crab cakes and football.
It's supposed to go into production in August, so it'll probably be out on HBO Max over the next year. So
I don't have anything else. It was a slow week as far as TV wise, and that. I said, I'm getting ready for Loki to come up on Wednesday. I'm excited for that.
They're saying Indiana Jones is in production now. The next one.
Harrison Ford still playing Indiana Jones.
Another one. If Harrison Ford can still go, you still got it, Chance. I guess. I don't know.
I thought everybody cut it off after the last one.
I thought so too.
What happened at the land? I was like, that was it.
I didn't
rewrite that.
Yeah, I didn't see the last one.
No, I was not a fan.
No.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I watched the original Indiana Jones movies, but it wasn't something that I was
high on.
Enthralled with. But
I guess I should say it's not that I hated the movie completely. I actually liked it up until a certain point. The ending ruined it for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what, the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the ending. It was
the ending.
It was the ending.
Yeah.
I just tore down the whole movie. And a Toxic Avengers reboot where Daniel Radcliffe is the villain.
I'm okay with that. I'm not mad at that.
If it's premiering on USA, I'm for it.
Speaking of reboots, did you see this just popped back into my head? I remember seeing it. Seth Rogen is doing an animated Ninja Turtles movie.
I did see that.
Oh, I didn't know it was animated. Okay.
Yeah, it's an animated one. So not a live version, but it will be animated.
Okay.
Like I said, Turtles are coming back again. Coming around again.
Back to the classic artwork when we were kids. That'd be great.
Yeah,
I got those seasons. The cartoon. I have those on DVD. I'll still pop them in from time to time and watch them. No doubt about it. Like I said, with the announcement of the video, Shredder's Revenge coming back and it being the old school classic style. Yeah, I agree. If they go the old school animation, I think it'll make it better. The new animation one with the turtles, I didn't care for it all. Wasn't
I didn't see the new animation movie. I've seen the other movies, but I didn't see the animation.
The cartoons. You ever seen those pictures where Nick got their hands on it?
I've seen the pictures, but
so something else.
I think that's one of those franchises that's just never going to die, like Power Rangers. It's just going to keep getting redone and redone and redone over and over again. It'll live forever.
Yeah, as long as it's redone right. I don't want shitty remakes of Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, but it's not like we're the audience anymore either for that.
I beg to differ. I think
I
people
don't know.
ratings are going to be.
I don't know now.
Seth Rogen, maybe he's trying to appeal to us, but when Nickelodeon brought back the Turtles, they weren't. They were just trying to get the kids.
Yeah, that TMNT version, I didn't care for it all. But
what, the movie or
that
movie was good. Now the cartoons,
I didn't care for.
Yeah, no.
So yeah. All right. Anything else in the intro we need to cover and get through? Like I said, we're going to keep it light and short this week in the intro.
Get your hands on these; they're good. Get breakfast.
How much does that mess up your mouth?
It doesn't, surprisingly.
They're soft.
Yeah,
really?
They're soft. Yeah.
Wow.
They are soft.
Not as much as that of the 17 bags of skinny Skittles gummies I saw you posted and eating this week.
I had a bag of those yesterday, and my hand went in one time, and I put it in for a second time, and it was gone. I don't know how. Like all those were missing. Like my hand just kept going back and forth. Man,
grab the whole bag up in one scoop.
And the Starburst sours, I had those also. Those were really good
too. Yeah. No. You just start digging and you don't want to stop. That's the problem with gummies.
Had to throw the bag across the room to get rid of it.
I had a joke there, but we're not on After Dark, so we'll let that slide.
Any of my coworkers are watching. Whoever has the Nerds clusters on the refrigerator at work, if you don't get them, mine.
Still in work. I'm
not that person, but those, man.
Those are
good.
There's the warning.
Public let it be known. Yeah. Let it be known.
All right, real quick. I went to the theaters for the first time on Sunday to go see Spiral, and it was weird being in a theater again after like a year and a half.
So when we went, we rented out the theater. So like it was still at that time. It was for Kong versus Godzilla, and we rented the theater out. So it was just like I think it was like 10 or 12 of us that went. Family wise, just went to theaters, and it was cool because we had the whole theater to ourselves. Like, I mean, that was cool. But I don't know how I feel about going back into a theater yet. Like,
there was only six people total in the theater, and of course, you had 3 who was talking through the whole movie. So some things never change in there, of course. And the biggest thing I picked up was during the previews. After every 2 previews, they play a commercial, be like, the movies are made for the big screen. Don't worry about the small screen. Come watch the movie in the big screen.
I'm here for the small screen.
My thing with stuff starting to open back up is that like the cost of everything is going to be outrageous. It was expensive. It was expensive to begin with, but when you ain't had people in certain places like movie theaters for 18 months, like
tell them about the welcome back prices.
So they had welcome back prices, and the prices were $2 more than what they normally were. So they had a chicken sandwich. So they had a chicken sandwich in there for $8.50. I couldn't believe it.
Welcome back.
It was ridiculous. Like $5 for a box of candy. Used to
like I couldn't imagine Jay, when you went to the Pirate game, what were prices like down there?
Oh, they were like 15.
For what?
Yeah, for what?
15 for a ticket.
No, for like
the prices.
Yeah, like concessions. Was it about what they were charging?
It was around the same. Yeah, it was around the same. How much was the bucket of chicken down there? The Quaker State norm?
22.
Yeah, 22.
They might have bumped that one up. More than 22.
Yeah, I was gonna say used to get a Permane sandwich and a souvenir cup for 18. That was like the
they like the fries with the chicken strips were like $10.
So they were
all that up to 20.
Then the fries themselves were $10. I'm like, okay, what
15. Yeah.
You start paying $10 for coffee.
He froze on mine.
It froze. Yeah, it froze.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Spiral was good. I enjoyed that. I watched Cruella. Cruella was amazing because of Emily Jean Stone. That's
Best live action I've seen so far.
And then I watched Conjuring yesterday, and Conjuring, man, the new Conjuring was okay. Wasn't as good as the first two. So
yeah, all right. I don't got anything else for the intro. Anybody got anything else?
Just so you and Mark get off my case.
About damn time. It's a beautiful sight.
Somebody posted a post about it. What's your favorite flavor? And everybody was like, peach.
They said flavor.
Huh? Oh, they had all of them up there though. They had a picture of all of them.
It's the only tea that matters in the Berg. Turner's, that beautiful malt water made tea. Blessed by the glorious gods. So delicious. I'm gonna go buy Turner's after this show just because you got it there. I'm gonna go buy.
We're not trying to boost sales now. That's not what we're doing.
Hey, listen, we're trying to get free pub over here. You can send a case of the minis.
You can send a case to me.
Send a case of the minis to me, Turner's. If you're listening, somebody at Turner's for the Dumb Horse Pod, say, hey, ship a case out. Let's go.
4 of them, 4 cases. We don't share.
No, we'll divvy J's up between the 3 of us.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, nothing else. Let's get into the newly renovated Bell to Bell. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna start something new this week for Bell to Bell. Instead of breaking down each and every single match that and storyline and show from the week that is, we're gonna go highlights and lowlights. Keep it to some generalized topics, maybe deep dive into a couple things for some interesting conversation. What you think in the new segment? If you like it, hot takes, bad takes, whatever the case may be, what you may want to see different. And with that all being said, where do we want to kick off Bell to Bell this week?
Are we going by show, highlights and lowlights, or are we just in general?
Well, in the not to pull back the curtain, we want to keep kayfabe alive here on the podcast, but we did send some notes over, or we were supposed to, but I guess that certain person that asked that question didn't add anything into the group chat for the pre-production of the show this week.
You want to have a production meeting on air. Pull back the curtain.
No, mine's changed.
No, well, let's just here. We'll just start here on Sunday. Let's just start with Double or Nothing. My biggest takeaways from the show was the atmosphere and the energy. Having live, a sold out crowd back for a pay-per-view that was emotionally invested in what was being done and presented to them, and were pretty much hot the entire night. They did die down for one match, and we can get into that because it seemed to be a trend, which was my only low from the show itself. But just the energy that was there. It made it more enjoyable to watch from a television perspective. I got the pay-per-view at my house. My cousins came over and we watched it. It was an enjoyable show. I liked it. Time-wise, I know, 7 to, right before midnight. I didn't feel like it was
I felt it
that long of a watch. I really didn't.
I felt it.
I didn't watch the pre-show, so just doing the 4-hour pay-per-view didn't feel as bad for me. But
because, like what Steve said, my like too is for the fans. Like it felt good with them being there again.
It did, and it felt different. It felt different than Mania too. And I know Mania with the one, it's in a stadium and it's outdoors, so the noise is what it is there. But you had the weather issues on both nights and everything else, but it was just a different vibe in the arena on Sunday, and it just made it so good. Now, like in contrast, the crowd last night on Dynamite, little trash. So I don't know if people wise they had the same amount of people there because the camera shots that they had and the way that the fans were set up, it looked like there wasn't as many fans there.
Like at the end, at the end, Dustin went into the crowd to celebrate with the fans.
Yeah, and I saw
it was like empty, like just rows of empty. So
Yeah, so I don't know, you know what I mean? Pay-per-view, they may have applied and got, permission to sell out Daly's Place, and then had to go back down to whatever the capacity settings are for shows down there in Florida. But yeah, it was just so good. So good to hear fans back and to hear that natural reaction. The first cowboy shit chant from Hangman. It just made it was like, okay, this feels normal again. You know what I mean? Like
that's definitely one of my positives from the show is that the crowd was into Hangman. Like he was over with that crowd on Sunday night.
There were a lot of people that were over. It was just generally speaking, just having chants back, and you know what I mean? Like it was just yeah, it was a night that was sorely missed and made you realize how much of a factor the crowd actually plays into wrestling. Like you've heard all the wrestlers talk about it this entire time during the pandemic, but visually seeing it and feeling that hot of a crowd back again just made the show that much better.
Yeah, definitely.
Matches I thought were solid quality, were good matches. If I'm rating that pay-per-view on a scale, on the sumo scale 1 to 5, I'll probably, without going back and rewatching it, first run through, I'll probably give it a 3.5.
That's what I give to.
I wouldn't, not, and that's not shitting on it or anything, you know what I mean? Like, but just general first run through, I'm not mad that I spent the money I spent on the pay-per-view itself. The one low for me from the pay-per-view was Cody and Anthony Ogogo. That crowd just died out completely when that match was on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it took a while to get him back into the show. Have no idea why. Cody came out, seemed to get a huge pop from the show itself, and that kind of that leads into what I wanted to bring up, tying in to Dynamite last night as well. The AEW fans on Twitter, Sunday night and last night, like the bashing of Cody on Twitter, and we've talked about it before with them with the comparisons to Triple H and not wanting to put people over and everything else. Yes, he won on Sunday, but he put over QT and Ogogo last night on Dynamite, and as soon as the match came out, as soon as the match started last night, wrestling Twitter, it was like, "Oh, Cody's here. Time for me to go make a sandwich." Cody, don't put nobody over Rhodes. Cody this, Cody that, and just bashing them. And then at the end of the match, you didn't hear nothing from those people again the rest of the night. And it was like, so what? Does he never put anybody over, or what? Like, are you guys just hating on him to begin with?
The IWC has to hate on something, no matter what the show is. They got to hate on something.
In my opinion, I think you should have put him over on the bigger stage on pay-per-view than on Dynamite.
And was he put over last night over a unclean finish?
I mean,
where you watch the ref walk away, then hit the Rhodes end?
Well, he went for the crossroads, and then Ogogo knocked him out.
Mm-hmm. And then too, Ogogo's punch was over last night, but he threw 4 punches on Sunday, and Cody miraculously kicked out at him, or moved to another move and kicked out of. So, was the punch over on Sunday?
I think the biggest thing that I noticed, and it's with Cody the most, is the internet wrestling community on Twitter has completely soured on Cody. In the arena live, he's still over. He's still getting the same pops and the same reaction that he was getting since AEW has started. So I don't know what the difference is, where the divide is.
Do you think it's because it's just cool to shit on him online and everybody just
keyboard warriors?
No, it's because the people who's coming to see it are paying to see it.
True. And you may be starstruck by that person in person.
I just don't know. You know what I mean? What that's all about. But that, like, Dynamite was just a weird show last night. Overall, that's what I got from Dynamite. It was just weird. between the crowd. I don't know if the mics were set up different, not picking up the noise. You know, a lot of the format of the show felt weird. Like when they put stuff on, just, you know, it was just a weird show. There was big stuff that happened. You know, obviously Andrade coming out and has officially signed with All Elite Wrestling.
And that didn't go over well.
Well, here's my question for you guys with that.
Listening wise, I mean, like listening to the crowd.
To the crowd, right? But
Yeah.
I so like when they showed it, like you seen people get up and were marking out, but you couldn't hear it. So again, like I said, I don't know if they had the mics in different places or what, because he definitely got a reaction. There was no doubt about it. It's not like he walked out to crickets. People were losing their mind there. But like
the crowd that was on the stage, they seemed to get real excited over it.
Yeah.
But my thing, like,
I mean, you heard more stuff for Vicky than you heard when he came out.
That's what I said. I don't know what the difference was there. But my thing is like, we've seen AEW with these post pay-per-view shows with big surprises and debuts, which is good. You know, you're the unpredictability factor is there, and you're not sure what's going to happen. So you want to tune in to post pay-per-view shows, but don't be so unpredictable that you don't have music ready to go for the people.
Yeah.
You didn't have music for Mark Henry. You didn't have music for Andrade, and it's like, why? Music adds to the presentation.
Yeah.
And if you have nothing, you can play something generic temporarily.
Whatever the case may be, yeah. Like come out with the Dynamite theme, like like
WCW used to with the Nitro music.
Yeah, like do some. I just have something there. Like it just. I think that's what added to the weirdness of it is because like Vicky was in the ring, she made the announcement and no
you
music.
Heard the name and you was like,
yeah, you heard the name and it's like, did she just say Andrade? Like,
just started walking out,
and then like, but it wasn't an immediate walkout either. Like, there was a pause and a delay, and I'm waiting for music to hit, and no music hits, and then you see him start coming out through the tunnel, and it's like, yo, you gotta have something there to play into it to add to the presentation.
Yeah. It's one thing if you just show up as a surprise, you know, you come through the crowd or do whatever, do a run in. That's one thing you don't need the music for. But whenever you're being introduced, I agree, you need the music.
Yeah, like the only person that no music worked for was when Matt Hardy came in. But the way that they did it, having Vanguard 1 and the drone and everything else, like it fit that broken Matt character to where you didn't necessarily need the music for his introduction. But you know what I mean? Like Miro had music, Brody had music, like Sting had music, like you. So yeah, I was curious to see if he was actually going to be signed with AEW or if this was just him coming in to get a push towards, you know, AAA in August with him and Kenny. But no, they sent out the graphic. He's officially signed with them. So just give me Los Ingram, you know, I can't ever say it.
It's like Del Phantasma.
Del Phantasma.
And he does have a faction already in AAA, and you know, Deonna Purrazzo is a part of it, and I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but.
So speaking of her, you know, Britt won the title this past Sunday at the pay-per-view, and people were already talking. Apparently, Britt wants a match against Deonna Purrazzo.
Sign it up.
Yeah, I'd be all for that.
Okay with that, yeah. Get Pittsburgh back on top, baby.
Yep.
She's the only good thing in Pittsburgh right now is Britt Baker. She was our last hope Sunday night, and she came through and won. Not like the Penguins who shit the bed in the first round. God awful Pirates that had the worst play in Major League Baseball history last week. Then who knows what the Steelers are going to do in a couple months. So, yeah. But no, I mean, I think we all knew in our prediction show that she was going to win. It was just that time. It sucks for Sheeta because her entire run was done with no fans there, so she didn't get the proper run as a champion with fans in the stands. But She put on a hell of a match. You know,
They did.
she'll be back.
Coming out to the crowd on Sunday too.
Yeah, she got a big pop.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't like the way she won. There was too much extra stuff going on. Like, use the heel tactics to keep the belt. When you win, I want you to win clean outright.
But she was the heel going in, so don't you think that's fine? And the tactics that were used, I mean, Reba hit her with the crutch. She didn't hit Sheeta.
Yeah, but you didn't need Reba out there.
The one blunder I saw was whenever Britt hit her with the curve stomp, and then she went to throw the belt out the ring, and the ref is looking at her throw the belt out the ring. I was like, okay.
Ref awareness is the worst part of AEW.
Listen, if you want to see how refereeing should be done, okay, to where your referee is competent and you know is not noticeable in the match but does everything that they're supposed to do in a match, go watch the TJP and Alexander match from this past week on BTI before the Impact. That will, if you want to be a referee, that's all you need to know. Go watch Brian Hefner in that match, and that's exactly how refereeing should be done.
I didn't know what you were
going to say. Entirety on YouTube, so go back and watch it.
I didn't know what you were going to say, but I was just thinking right away. I couldn't even tell you if I've ever seen a ref in Impact.
Yeah,
like I've watched a couple show matches. I don't remember a ref.
But that's a good thing because you're not supposed to remember the ref.
Mm-hmm. If they're invisible.
You know, Mark Henry comes out, talks about he's there to turn the screws, to tighten the screws, and he's talked this week on Busted Open and explained what he's going to be doing and how, you know, he left WWE because he wanted an office job and that didn't fly and didn't go and wasn't given the opportunities that he wanted. So he went elsewhere. His contract was up, and that's what it was. And I think having him in AEW is a really good get for them, not just from what he can provide and from an office standpoint and tighten those things up that they have issues with when it comes to referees and following the rules and everything else. But his eye for talent is one of the best in the business, and you can look no further than the women that he's brought in with Jade and Bianca. Those two alone are kind of like, okay, yeah, you know how to spot them. Not to mention all the other ones, but yeah, I think he'll pay more dividends to AEW from, like I said, from the office standpoint than on screen or in the ring.
Definitely.
It's like, and even the refs in AEW, that's one of the things that JR pretty much calls out weekly. Is some of their
you have to, because you're leaving the announcers there hanging. Like, how can the announcers tell the story properly if the refs are just completely looking like stooges?
So hopefully that does get fixed, because up to this point, you know, they're calling it out every week, but yeah, it's not getting fixed.
And I wonder if SmackDown's gaffe last night with the referee was a shot back at AEW, because it's like, oh, you count to three and don't notice the shoulders up. That was my thought last night watching it. I'm like, okay, a little shot back at AEW for all their referee mistakes and incompetencies that they have on a weekly basis. So, but yeah, so no,
they don't like their product.
All in all, I think AEW had a solid week. The pay-per-view was really good. You know, the surprise last night with Andrade. I got no complaints, you know, like overall from watching AEW this week. It was steady stuff. Besides, you know, Dynamite just felt weird last night, and I couldn't figure out why, you know. But
my high was Jungle Boy winning, but it's that match that's just like, you expect that to be like the Royal Rumble, where that's your future. But it's like you're just setting him up to that. Like, nobody has what is the win-loss rate? 0% in those
Hangman won the first one and lost to Jericho for the first ever AEW title. lost to Moxley, and now Jungle Boy against Omega. So,
and then your brass ring match.
Yeah, Scorpio.
Yeah. I like the twist that they do with the Casino Battle Royale with bringing them out in groups of 5 and having them draw suits. It adds something different, 3-minute intervals. It's a different presentation to it, and I like it. I agree. Jungle Boy was the right call to go over there. He's for all the fans that say AEW only signs and pushes WWE wrestlers. Just it's like you're not watching the product.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely expected Christian to win. So it's like
everybody did.
When Jungle Boy won, I was happy because he's one of those guys that if you go back and watch all those matches, he's consistently in the final 4. Mm-hmm. So for him to finally get the win was a good moment.
Yeah, I think you'll start to see him. I know him and Luchasaurus are good, and what they have with Jurassic Express is nice and all that, but he's going to be the standout single star at some point in time. So it's just how and when you want to bring him into the fold from that standpoint. He had a great match with Cody. Had a good match with Jericho. Like Omega's another test for him to see how he does, and I have no doubt that he'll knock that out of the park
for sure.
Yeah, I'm ready for him to get featured. I'm tired of people saying he has the potential. He has the potential. I want to see it. But he has it. But I'm ready.
He does have it, but like I said, he's delivered in the big time singles matches that he's had with you figure Cody and Jericho. All right, that's 2 out of your big gun. 2 out of your 3 or 4 big singles guns that are on the show, and he's done nothing but deliver. So
it's just like, when are you going to get over that hill?
Exactly, and that's the story. That's the story that you can tell with him. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can go that route.
My takeaway was just the way the Stadium Stampede, the way it was cut. There was just I didn't like the way it was shot.
I enjoyed the Stadium Stampede.
I enjoyed Wardlow and
Hager.
Wardlow and Hager's part.
Yeah.
But it was just like they gave everybody like a segment. I went like cut back and forth.
And Jericho came out this week and said that they had a guy from John Wick come in to help produce all the segments and everything. And so I can definitely, after he said that, just like, okay, I can see that how they set everything up in segments, and it wasn't a whole lot of them all together. It was just, okay, here's one story, here's another story, here's another story, here's another story.
Broken down to 4 parts.
But I think my take on my spin on that, to play devil's advocate, is that set up into last night where we said on the pod, I think it was last week or the week before, that now you're going to get the individual matchups. You're going to have Jericho and MJF. You're going to have Hager and Wardlow. You're going to have LAX, or, Santana, Ortiz, and FTR. Like, you're going to have the individual matchups now. To continue to feud on and then maybe culminated in one final faction match. So that could have been the way that they set it up. Sammy was the one that said that it needed to finish in front of the fans in the arena live. So kudos to him for coming up with that and getting that out there, because I think that definitely helped the ending of the match to have them finish live in front of the fans. And he came out as the star of the match to me. And he was the star of the match of the last one too. So Sammy's another young AEW homegrown talent that is going to be a factor in the main event picture at some point in time.
Yeah.
So
I think I saw someone on Twitter talk about the match. Like, it was almost symbolic where it kind of played with the past year. You started empty, and then you finished with the fans because you could now. And
that's a good take on it too. I didn't even think about it. Anything else from AEW this week?
Nope.
No. Okay. Let's jump over to WWE. Obviously, the big news this week was the releases that transpired on, I believe, Wednesday, that came out of nowhere.
Literally nowhere.
Literally nowhere. Big time names.
The day off, then that's unusual too.
Yeah, big time names. And the list: Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Ruby Riott, Santana Garrett. I believe that's it, right? Buddy Murphy. So yeah. My takeaways from the releases and to tie in to jump into the shows this week. One, is WWE prioritizing women's wrestling at all? Because SmackDown only has 7 females on it right now after those cuts.
Well, they only had 8 before. One was Raw.
Like, how do you have a women's tag team division with 7 women on SmackDown, and I don't even know how many are on Raw, but it's not that many more either.
A bunch more.
So how do you have a tag team division? Like, how are you supposed to have feuds without constantly just recycling the same 2 or 3 people in there? We saw last night Carmella and Liv get a match, which wasn't bad. Bianca and Bayley had their segment, but I just don't. I don't know. It made no sense to release the people that you release, and it led to speculation that WWE is going to go. They're positioning themselves to be sold. I'm like, Vince is never going to sell WWE.
He has come out and said that he is open to the idea, and I think the only reason why they're open to it is because technically he can't just pass down the company to somebody else now because they're a publicly traded company. They would have to be removed as a publicly traded company for him to say, okay, Stephanie, Shane, Paul, whoever, you're running the company now.
But he can sell his shares.
Right to them. He can sell right to them.
Yeah, he can sell his shares to them, and then they'll be majority owners.
Yes, but the board would still even have to approve that. It's not that it can just happen. Whenever you're a publicly traded company, it works completely different than anything else. And I think that's one of the reasons why they have talked about selling the company and when this has come up in the past. And so a couple times it has been addressed publicly that, at least if they would sell the company, they could sit there and position themselves saying, hey, okay, NBC, you're going to buy the company. Well, if you buy the company, we want this management structure of, Triple H, Stephanie, Shane running things XYZ, and then, but you guys are like the money behind everything.
And that was the with them going on the Peacock that started those rumblings initially, and now with these names, Strowman's contract was the one that I saw that came out to where he was over $1 million per year. So like, if you're given the bullshit excuse of budget cuts, then I could see, budget cut there. But you just had a main event on the pay-per-view 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. Like, just I don't get what they're doing.
Did we mention Alistair when you said it?
With the contract?
Yeah. Did you mention him too?
Yeah, as far as being cut?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was, and he hopped on Zelina's her Twitch page and talked about it and everything else. That made no sense either. You run these vignettes, you bring them back, and then all of a sudden he's cut.
Yeah, you brought him back for 1 week, and then he's gone.
They've done that before too. Like whenever they used to do the draft, like right after WrestleMania, and then they would do their cuts right after that. And just like, so you bring people on TV and showcase them, then you cut them. So that it doesn't make sense. I agree, but
so SmackDown. The topic that I want to get into for WWE this week is more on the Raw side for us to dive into, but just generally speaking from SmackDown last night, Roman Reigns was great, and the rest of the show was kind of blah.
I enjoyed the rest of it.
I didn't, I get what they did with the tag teams, with the referee botch and then having the match at the end, but then Roman comes out and it's a DQ finish anyway. So it's like, all right. Bianca and Bayley, I don't like what they're doing with Bayley with the cackling laugh gimmick and that.
They gotta speed up Bianca's promos. Do something. Yeah. It's a little too time consuming.
And as much as I like the Street Profits, I don't need them in 3 backstage segments.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So there's just like I said, I don't. Besides Roman and his character work throughout the show, like I just it was just another like edition of SmackDown. But what I wanted to get into was more along the lines for Raw this weekend. I forget who tweeted it out, but this can tie into the releases and everything else. If I put you in charge of Raw right now, you have fair game to everybody on the roster from Raw, everybody on the roster from SmackDown, everybody on the roster from NXT. What are you doing to fix Raw to make it a better show on a weekly basis for 3 hours?
Cut it down to 2.
That's the obvious answer, right?
That's all.
That's the first one. Cut it down to 2.
A majority of the responses that I saw to that tweet, it was make it 2 hours, which, hey, it's fair game. Anything's on the board. I think we would all agree that it would be a better product than 2 hours. 3 hours is just too much. But the money will never dictate them going back to 2 hours. It will never happen.
But we all said last week that Drew got to get out the main title picture, number one.
I think one of the things that I'd go right into is what they tried to do a few years ago with Raw was, position maybe Kevin Owens and Finn Balor back in there as some of the main stars. And at least if you take Drew out and you put some of those guys that can do more in the ring against Lashley, I think that will showcase Lashley off as a better champion than going against just a Haas versus Haas match against Drew again.
Are you
thinking? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, are you bringing up anybody from NXT? Is there anybody in NXT that you bring up right now and put on Raw that makes it a better show?
For me, it'd be tag teams.
You don't think Adam Cole on Raw makes Raw a better show?
I wouldn't want to take him out that element, though. It would, but I wouldn't want to take him out that element.
It would, but I don't know if that's something that he's open to either. Because like Johnny Gargano, this is not like,
and
this is what you want to do. Yes, what as head of Raw, head creative, head of Raw, you have carte blanche to do whatever you want to make it a better product for a 3-hour weekly show. What are you doing, and what do you want to see on the show itself to make it a better watch? Is it highlighting tag team wrestling? Is it elevating more women? What are you doing to make it a better watch? What are you eliminating? What are you cutting back on?
I'm broadening the field for the IC and US title. And it's just going to be like a Rising Stars belt.
So you're trying to make it like an Intercontinental belt back in the day.
Yeah, Rising Stars, because like I'm taking the tag belt off of AJ, I'm taking the belt off of Sheamus, and I'm putting them into the main picture, the main event picture, to broaden that. There are no week-to-week feuds. I give you a long feud. You can fight every other week or something. Then I was thinking about not having champions fight only on pay-per-views. I was just thinking that.
So
you're making it back like when Hogan and them was around. Like
well, I think to Jay's point, one of the things that I would automatically do is, and this isn't necessarily specific to Raw, but if they would trim the total number of pay-per-views down, it would allow you to have more long-term storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. The week-to-week booking, there's no plan for anything. And it's just, okay, we have 5 weeks to the next pay-per-view, 4 weeks to the next pay-per-view. You go with you go with her, and we're going to do some type of whatever over the next 4 weeks involving the same 4 people until we get to the pay-per-view and you have the match. You can't, it's just, I think that hurts them so much. SmackDown, they get away with it a little bit more because it's only a 2-hour show, but their stuff is repetitive too.
Mm-hmm. And I think now that the network's technically on Peacock, you might be able to get away with not doing as many events. At least before, you had to do them basically monthly because you had to give the people something to pay for every month. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
But like AEW, they had Double or Nothing, and then they announced their next pay-per-view is going to be All Out, which is Labor Day weekend. So you're talking, almost 2.5 month build until the next pay-per-view.
But don't forget, there's also going to be a quarterly special in there too.
Right, which is fine. That's on TV. But like, if you have 4 or 5 big pay-per-views a year, and then you throw in, quarterly special, you're talking 8. You're talking 8 overall, quote unquote, pay-per-views instead of what's WWE run 14 or 15.
Yeah, and that was a lot of my problem with AEW building up to Double or Nothing, was because they just had a special like Dynamite a month ago, and I felt like they didn't do anything to build up Double or Nothing until after that was done. So it's like they were kind of almost going the week-to-week booking after that as well, instead of starting long-term and not just being a stop along the way. And yeah, I agree. I think that there needs to be less week-to-week and just more long-term storytelling across the board.
So Jay, I like your idea of putting Sheamus and AJ up in the main event picture and elevating them two up and making the U.S. title your star to be groomed to be next, to get that run to see what they do. Roster wise, shakeup wise, I know we talked about Cole from NXT potentially, but anybody else that you would want to see get a character change or move from brand to brand or whatever for anybody?
For me, I think
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just try to fix what is right now. I wouldn't try to add anybody into the mix. Fix it before you bring people in.
So if you take the belts off AJ and Omos, and you take the belt off Sheamus,
I did say I'd bring up some tag teams from NXT.
Who would you bring up?
I'd bring Breezango back.
But it's not like NXT's tag team division is super deep either.
Nah, but you just need some more tags.
And that's all the problem with why Breezango goes back down there, because Vince just wasn't doing anything with them.
Mm-hmm.
They were on main event more than they were doing anything else.
And they were entertaining, though. That's the thing. You could have done something with them.
Yeah.
So you're just going to get not a lot of teams. You're going to get individuals paired up.
No,
which they're doing already, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Is Raw even fixable at this point?
At 3 hours?
Yeah.
I don't think.
I don't know if this would fix it, but maybe just bring all the women to Raw. Like you don't have the women's division on SmackDown; it's just on Raw.
So Mickey talked about that when she got released. How she pitched to have a quote unquote all women's brand.
Yeah, and we talked about that.
But I don't. They won't. Given the circumstances, they won't bring all the women on and put them on one show.
Yeah. And I mean, they're not gonna put just be an hour of women. At least it could possibly be scattered better. If you have at least one segment every hour of women, it's better than one or two segments total on a show.
I think one of the things you can do production wise, and this is evident on both shows, Raw and SmackDown. Can we stop with the recaps before a commercial break to come back to get an entrance from one opponent to get another recap of the same recap that happened before the commercial break, before the entrance of the second opponent? And then they do a recap later on in the show again.
Especially too much filler on Raw.
It's so like last night it was super noticeable on SmackDown for the first time. Like so the ref botch was God, they played that to death, but they just it was constantly done, and it's like we don't.
Here's what you missed.
You have nothing else going on, and like you said, it's complete filler.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's ruining the watch of the show, because it's like, ooh, I'm sitting here watching this. I know what happened from the recap. The first recap you did. I don't need the 17th recap of it.
SmackDown did that on something, and I'm really trying to remember what it was. It was like around WrestleMania build-up, but like they showed like 6 times in one show. It's like it's too much. I agree.
Was that Cesaro swing?
Yes, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, yeah, right after WrestleMania, they showed that constantly. It was way too much.
They could have actually gave a Street Profits and Team Alpha tag match. Really?
Well, that's why I said last night. I'm like, okay, you have the Profits in 3 segments, and then it doesn't turn into a match. It's like this is one of the threads of the show. So you think there would have been a match out of it, but there wasn't. It's coming wait till next week. Oh, I don't know if Rob. I don't know what you do at this point in time. Honestly, I really don't. It was one of the worst rated Raws. Although some stuff came back out, the last week or throughout the week that it was, not as badly rated as what it was initially made out to be, but it was still on the lower end of all-time Raws. And
it was a bad watch.
It was a horrible watch.
It was a bad watch.
What, Raw?
Yeah.
God,
my only highlight was I want to see what they're doing with Sheamus, Humberto, and Ricochet. And I still have faith in Mason T-Bar. I just think Mace needs more work wrestling.
So, to me, overall, if I'm looking at everything that I watched this week, AEW, WWE, NXT, the best show of the week this week was Impact.
I didn't watch.
I didn't watch Impact after the Iron Man finished.
It was the best show of the week. And it just sucks because it doesn't have as many eyes on it as everybody else. People are sleeping on Impact. If you don't go to YouTube and if you go to YouTube and watch that TJP and Josh Alexander match, and not enjoy that match, and that's pro wrestling in a nutshell there. That match.
I kind of felt like with the match too, just like we had texted and I had brought up that the commercial breaks kind of killed the match for me, the whole overall vibe of it. I kind of think that if you just tuned in for Impact and you saw the last bit, I think you were okay.
Yeah, it was they had the best show of the week for me. Story wise, match wise, character wise, that Impact was number one on my list this week if I'm ranking shows.
I'd go NXT just for that cross moment, that cross thing moment. That just had me hyped for the whole damn show. Even
man, I ate that up like I was a kid again. I was like, give me more.
Do you think he got overshadowed by Cole?
Who Cross?
Yeah.
Nah. In that segment?
In that segment.
Nah.
Really?
He sounded like a DX Shawn Michaels in that promo.
Because to me, Cole did the running.
You don't think it was too lopsided microphone wise? I mean, Cole's a hell of a promo to begin with. He's one of the best talkers there is. Cross is a good promo. If you followed Cross can give you really good promos. He's done it on his YouTube channel, before he got to WWE. It's just the way that they've presented him so far on the microphone. But to me, I think Cole, like, you want to talk about just ether and flat out sawing somebody down. You're only special because of the girl and the entrance and the smoke. What they do to make me special is ring the damn bell.
That was
good.
I don't think it overshadowed him too much.
Said that promo sounded like a DX Shawn Michaels. It did. It brought me back to that.
Is he
probably
wrong?
Probably Sean helped him with it.
He's not wrong, but I mean, do you like people were enamored with this 5-way match that was announced, and it's like,
not me.
Too many people.
I'm not crazy about it.
If Cross runs through these 4 guys and wins, who's left to challenge him?
I think it overshadows the match. Because like Dawn was saying, could you hold this out till SummerSlam?
The SummerSlam takeover. Like those two.
Because it just feels like that's where the feud is going. So it's going to be like Cross is going to get a pin on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be Cole for sure.
Yeah, it's not going to be Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Is this elimination or is it first pinfall?
They didn't say it. They just said it.
Regal rules.
Yeah, 5 wins.
It would be something strange.
I mean, if it's like the ones that Oscar did, because Oscar did not 5 but 4.
Mm-hmm.
It was first pin, first submission, because she did 2 of them.
I think the chaos from NXT to start the show, it was chaos, but not necessarily in a good way. It was more inmates running the asylum chaos instead of chaos for a positive effect, from at least in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see there, but I don't know that the 5-way. It's just I don't know. I heard rumors that this is the way for them to take the belt off Cross and he'll get called up to the main roster.
But who you put it on? I don't want to see it put on Cole that way.
Because I'm not sold enough on Cross to be on
Cole.
the main roster.
To me, I think Cross will be better utilized on the main roster, and I can't believe I just said that sentence. Can't believe I just said that sentence.
Probably
You
will.
don't think we'll get the Aleister Black treatment?
No, I don't.
Why?
Scarlett, for one, she adds to the presentation factor. 2, his presence.
I think he has more of a demand.
Yeah, his presence is different. He walks into a room and you notice some type of presence.
Yeah.
I don't think not saying that. Like, I know Booker T got a lot of heat this week for saying that Aleister didn't do anything to stand out on the roster, and people were shitting all over him. But like, if you go back and look,
I agree.
it's like, okay,
There'll be some fresh blood for Bobby too if he's still champ.
I just think and this goes back to what Cole said, if you look at the package, right, the entrance, the intensity, Scarlett, I want Cross and Scarlett to go back to being natural born killers. Woody Harrelson and what's her face from the movie Natural Born Killers. Like that's the character version that Scarlett and Cross should be playing.
See, I see if they go up to the main roster, she's going to get over with fans, and Vince is going to push her because this isn't just something that I'm thinking. This is consistent what he does, where he's going to do something with her differently, and it's going to push him to the back.
But she can wrestle though, so
she can wrestle. So I'm not mad if she gets pushed. She can wrestle. I just think that I think Cross is a big enough presence to where he's not somebody that I would have get lost in the shuffle.
But look at Long and Rusev. Neither one of them should have got lost in the shuffle, and they did.
To me, Cross is completely different than Rusev.
Like personality wise, I think so.
It's just yeah.
These like big guys are like, I don't want to say soft, but like big quiet guys. That's what they come across as me, like personally.
And not to sound, I don't want to offend anybody with this, but Cross doesn't have an accent. Rusev does.
Yeah.
Vince doesn't like anybody with an accent.
True.
To me, Cross is somebody that will be a star. But
He has
after
potential to be- I don't think he will.
everything we've seen. I just don't know if, like you said, if it will be where WWE gives him the right opportunity to become that star, or if he just gets lost in the shuffle like all these other people that have been called up that are no longer on the roster.
Do you think he would connect with the fans, no matter how heel or face?
I do, and that's just from me watching him in his time in Impact.
I've never seen. I've just seen like clips. I've never seen like the whole package of him.
Watching him on Impact, watching him in Lucha Underground for the short time that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you go with the Natural Born Killers version of Cross.
I think the entrance will get over with fans.
No, of course, it's flashy.
Yeah, that's about where I see it going.
But Aleister Black had a cool entrance, and that didn't work.
Yeah, the entrance got over with the fans, but that was it.
I think Aleister's a better in-ring worker than Cross.
I believe that.
Yeah,
definitely believe that.
But again, the presentation of Cross on NXT only scratches the surface of what he's capable of in the ring. Like they're only letting him do so much. And it's more geared towards like the character that they're presenting him as right now. He's a legit legit trains MMA, in kickboxing and that. Like it's there's so much that you can do with him, and he can get over because of his presence. It just, I just don't. As much as I want him to get over and be a star, I just don't know if they'll actually
let him do it. So, yeah, this run in NXT will be interesting with him. See how he does. The presentation, because Hunter is normally good at giving you the best version of characters. Mm-hmm. We saw it with Andrade. Once they worked him out and added Zelina, they took away the suspenders and got him to the serious, and that was the best version of Andrade. Aleister in his run in NXT. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But, all right. With that, just one other quick thing that I wanted to bring up tonight. NWA has their pay-per-view tonight.
Tomorrow?
I thought it was tonight.
I thought it was the 6th.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is the 6th. So, yeah, when Our Shadows Fall pay-per-view, the match card was announced for it. So, it is – you have some of the names. You have JTG making his NWA debut.
Wow.
Former Crime Time partner there. Thunder Rosa and Melina against Terrence Harrell and Kylie Ray. The Pope versus Tyrus in a grudge match.
Is he still the TV champ?
Yes.
No.
The tag team fatal 4-way. I don't know anybody in that match except for Bestia 666. NWA World Tag Team match, you have Aaron Stevens and Kratos. Aaron Stevens is, formerly Damian Sandow versus Crimson from Impact and Jax Dane versus Tom Lattimore and Chris Adonis, the Masterpiece.
That's the tag match?
That's the tag team championship match, yeah. Okay. I think that'll be a good match.
Sandow, are they the champs?
Sandow and Kratos are champs, yes. Okay. If you haven't seen Kratos before, he's a sight.
I haven't watched any of NWA since they came back.
He's a sight. Lattimore and Adonis together are a good tag team. They work well together. Crimson, I've always been a Crimson fan since his time in Impact. So I like him. I'm glad to see him back in a professional wrestling ring. And then the two matches that are for the big belts, Serena Deeb versus Camille for the women's championship match. to me, that might be your match of the night, just because it's Serena Deeb's in it. But I like Camille as well. She's
I like Camille too.
Powerhouse. And then for
you give Camille her shot here.
I think you do. But if you take the belt off Serena Deeb, I don't know if you have Camille on it on Dynamite.
Yeah.
So
it'd be awesome to see her on Dynamite just to get some more exposure.
Right. So yeah, no, to me that match I won't be upset with either women. Like whoever wins, I won't be upset with. Camille wins and she gets her shot and her run with the strap, I'm good with it. If Serena Deeb keeps it, I'm good with it, because Serena Deeb's just a ball of fire right now and can't have a bad match. And then for the World's Heavyweight Championship, you have Nick Aldis versus Trevor Murdoch.
Honestly, I've never been a Murdoch fan, even from his days in WWE. But I think Aldis might be able to pull something out of him.
Murdoch's been really good in NWA. He's been really good, and the story that they told with him leading up to this match has been good.
What was it like all about Harley training him?
Yeah. They led him to the NWA past and history and Harley race and training him, and he's going out trying to win this one for Harley, and all this has just been lights out. He continues to be great with the belt. So yeah, tune in for that on Fight TV tomorrow. If you want to catch that pay-per-view, it's a decent card. It'll be good matches, and the NWA is good old school wrestling. So
I did see Billy say during a media scrum this week that if he basically had said if Tony Khan would be open to it, I'd like to see Cody Nick Aldis 3, since they had All In and then the NWA 70th anniversary show after.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, Nick's talked about that before on Busted Open, and at some point in time, I don't know if there was some heat there between them two, like legitimate heat.
I had heard some rumors of that.
Yeah, so it was from the vibe that I got from it, from that interview back whenever he did it. It was more like the business has to be right in order to get that third match, which means to tell me that there was actual heat between them two. So, yeah. So that's it for Bell to Bell this week. Let us know what you think of the segment. What you guys like?
One thing left. On Monday, in New Japan, they moved their event. It was supposed to be tomorrow as well, but due to COVID restrictions in Japan, they had to push the event to Monday. So Dominion's pretty much like their second biggest event every year. The title right now, of course, is vacant, so it's going to be Okada versus Shingo Takagi. And I don't know. The rumor was that they wanted to put the belt on Okada before it went vacant. So who knows if they're going to go with this? But the new regime in New Japan, they've done some things to shake things up. So we might see a brand new champion on Monday.
Yeah, they wanted Ospreay to drop the belt to Okada, but obviously his neck injury was more severe than what anybody thought, to where he wasn't able to do that, which is why we got this match. And then there's new tag team champs in New Japan as well.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Gorillas of Destiny lost, and I'm trying to. They lost to Zack Sabre Jr. and I forget who his partner is.
Donald's favorite.
I forget who his tag team partner is, but yeah, they ended Gorilla of Destiny's run. So with that, so yeah, New Japan got good stuff going on. As always, Jay White went on a Twitter blitz last night on Twitter, just bashing AEW for signing and running with ex-WWE talent and saying they don't know how to create their own stars and push their own stars.
Don't worry. In 3 months, Jay White's going to be all elite, too.
Well, so here's my thing with that, and I know we don't want to run long on this segment, but just last thing with that. So there was the rumors that came out of New Japan and WWE going into exclusive talks, right? Tony Khan has already come out and said that their relationship with New Japan is established. He cut his promo. He's made reference to storylines and stuff, surprises that they have, set up to do further on, down the road throughout the course of this year moving forward. So I don't know if this is Jay White working the literal working definition, or if it's like legitimately how he feels and he's just throwing shade at AEW. So yeah,
you never know sometimes.
Yeah. I just want to see Dean Ambrose back. That's all.
All right, with that comment, we're gonna wrap up Bell to Bell. Let's get into the drink of the week.
Chug, 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 chug.
Week's drink of the week segment is brought to you by day drinking, which I will be doing as soon as we get done with this podcast.
What are you gonna be doing here?
And I'm not the reason.
No, you're not. Not yet. We still have time to go. So this
the mark for forgetting the beer this week can be the reason.
Yeah. So this week we have Eagles Brewery banana bread beer. That's what we'll be doing. It is 5.2% alcohol by volume. It is a malt beverage brewed with bananas and banana flavor added.
I like the smell.
You
still didn't find your thing?
Yeah, I was just about to say, you still didn't find it yet?
Nah, bro.
You're horrible.
I am.
Do I have to send you another one?
No, I'm gonna find it. If not, I'm gonna find some more clever to open it with.
You go with the gauntlet.
As you know, Chris, coming from an undisclosed location, forgot his beer for drink of the week this week. So good job.
Sure it's back there behind him.
Being prepared.
It smells good.
I can try anything else but beer today.
Now it smells like ripe bananas.
I've had banana bread beer before, and I've really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping this one is just as good.
I can do this.
Son of a bitch. Sounds like it. I'll get that later.
This is good.
So it's fresh bananas pack a whole bunch of aromas, while rich multi hops deliver a seriously fruity flavor, all perfectly balanced and masterfully blend. And that's pretty much the description that I would give for this beer.
I need the nut taste.
Okay, this is not after dark.
That's what she said. I can't say that and not go. That's what she said. Like,
go ahead and take it there.
I mean, you're the one that normally makes all those references. So, no, this is. I might go buy a case of this after the show.
This is good.
Yeah, Chris, you missing out, buddy. Sorry. I'm gonna give that
over here.
I'm gonna give that a 4.25 on a sumo scale. Very good beer.
This is really good. Yeah, I get down a lot of these. I give it a 4. I'll give it a 4.
I'll give it a 3.75.
Woo!
It's like it tastes like I want to say it tastes trash. It's more the smell for me. Like I'm still just tasting beer, but the smell is just making me feel good.
He just needs a little more nut. That's all.
So it is like whenever banana bread's baking off in the house and you smell the aromas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, that's excellent. There's nothing wrong with that beer.
I'd definitely drink more of these.
Absolutely. And if Jay is drinking more of these, you got a really good beer.
I was gonna say that's high praise for him for a beer that he didn't pick.
Right. Right. So if you're out and about and you see Eagle Brewery banana bread beer, definitely pick that up. You will not be disappointed. That's a high recommendation here from the Dumb Marks podcast. And with all that being said, we ask that you pick up your bottles, cans, red Solo cups, glasses with I don't know what's in it that Chris is holding. And raise them high as we go to good ships and wood ships and ships that sail the seas, but the best ships are friendships, and friends will always be. Salute. week in sports, folks. A lot of stuff that came down this week. I think the big one of the big takeaways was coming off of Mental Health Month in May, and I talked about that in my final thoughts on the show last week. Naomi Osaka withdrawing from the French Open due to mental health reasons, and I saw a lot of people bashing her and saying, how you've made so much money in your career and this, that, and the other, and everything else, and she said just having to deal with the press and everything else after matches and questions and everything else. It's just not the most conducive environment for an athlete, regardless of the circumstances. So what are your takes on the post-match interviews, the press conferences right after games, right after tennis matches, whatever the case may be? Do you think that it is something that should still be done? Should it be done differently? Should there be time given? I know the emotional reaction right after a win or a loss is what they're looking to get from the coaches, the players, the participants, so on and so forth. But do you think it's something that needs to change in sports, or will it ever change in sports?
It does need to change. They really need to give them I'll say a half hour to 45 minutes just to calm down. Mm-hmm. Because if you're playing a good game and it gets emotional and that stuff, you don't want somebody exploding on you about a call or something. I'm talking tennis wise, that goes bad or good. Mm-hmm. They need that little rest period, just like everybody else. When they get off of work, they need that little decompress time before they jump into anything else.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's not that the athletes are being set or the coaches are being set up to fail in that situation, because a lot of the times, especially the top tier individuals, they say a lot without saying anything. So they get very good at the corporate speak. Giving you a bunch of words, give you a bunch of words that don't mean anything. Whether it's cliches, so on and so forth. But for individuals that are dealing with things outside of the sports world, and having to deal with that, or afraid of public speech, whatever the case may be, that type of environment is almost always going to set them up for failure. If they say the wrong thing, if they come off across bad, whatever the case may be, then they're going to be on First Take. They're going to be on Undisputed. They're going to be on all these shows for the next couple of days and getting everything picked apart piece by piece. But on the flip side of that coin, people would say, well, that's what you signed up for when you became a pro athlete.
Is it though?
That's what I'm saying. That's where the conversation is going.
To me, the coaches speak, but you're not asking the sixth man to speak. You're not going to ask the guy who. You're not going to ask the punter to talk. So, is it by request who they want to see speak, or what?
So, I mean, typically with your major sports, I mean, typically you're going to get the quarterback. You're going to get the quote unquote prima donna wide receiver. You're going to
But then the same obligation should fall on the guy who's the 56th or the 52nd man on the team who ain't played all season.
I think nowadays, I think it's done. Reporters and journalists, to me, nowadays aren't necessarily, and this isn't going against every sports reporter or sports journalist, but a lot of the times the questions that are being asked in these press conferences are strictly for clickbait headlines.
Yeah, and there shouldn't be anything not regarding the sport.
Yeah, I mean,
I shouldn't have to speak on something if you messed up outside.
Years ago, it used to be the game was over, whatever, and then the team or and the coach all went back to the locker room. And then when the coach was ready, he would invite, maybe 2-3 reporters back to his office just to do an interview. And that was it. You didn't get the team interview or anything. You got the coach did the final, and that was it. That's where you got your stuff. And I just think with TV and everything evolving, trying to get information right now, I think it would be better if you went back to that. Like what Don said, let everybody calm down for a little bit, decompress. Evaluate the situation, whatever the game was, and then have the conversation.
And then back then, you could do an interview and wouldn't have to see anybody for what you'd see the headline and then see somebody next week.
No,
like Netflix now, I got to deal with.
Yeah, but it's the 24-hour news cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just interesting, that it was for as many people that stood up and supported her, and I think Venus Williams was the one that said it best. If you haven't seen her clip, go check out her clip from her standpoint and what she talked about. But it's it was amazing to see how many people that were on both sides of the fence whenever it came to Naomi. It was either high praise, good for you, go get yourself right. And then it was just a complete burial on the other side and people blitzing her. So not a lot of shades of gray where people were either for or against. It's like you have to pick a side, and not all things should be where you need to pick a side. If somebody comes out and says that they don't want to talk to the press, or they've dealt with anxiety or mental health issues and everything else, then that's the end of it, and let them go deal with what they need to deal with to get themselves right. It's not up for you to interpret and bash that person for saying that and say, well, you've made X amount of money, and just because you're a pro athlete, you should suck it up and deal with it and have to do those things.
I'm not trying to condone this by any ways, or trying to stick up for them, but I think a lot of times people bash things because they don't understand it. So if it's someone that doesn't understand how mental health can affect somebody, they're going to sit there and say, oh, just suck it up and do it. And that's not always the way it is. Mental health is a serious thing. And I'll condone her for taking the step back for it.
Yeah. And those reporters should know too, because they're always on a deadline from their editors. Get this in, hurry up, type this. Yeah. So it's a two sides of the same coin.
Like look at people like Lee Williams when he used to do his interview with helmets on. Like you ever think about stuff like that, what's going on in that person's head? And to him, that's like a shield.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up Ricky Williams, because Dark Side of Football this week talked a lot about playing with pain, and talked a lot about the throughout the generations of football players, the opioid addiction, the pills that were available, Toradol shots, all this stuff, and then that's Thursday night. Yesterday, the NFL comes out and says that they will no longer be giving Toradol shots. So I was like, okay, this is you guys getting out in front of
that,
the backlash and the questions and everything else that came about from that episode. But it was just interesting to see that it was that. What's that?
Whose episode was that?
Kyle Turley was on there.
Okay.
Ricky Williams was on there. Jim McMahon was on there.
That's the 5 minutes I seen after Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, DeQuell Jackson, former linebacker from the Colts. They had a decent lineup of individuals that played in different eras over the last 20, 25 years, 30 years. That you could see where it's been at, and then the advocating obviously of CBD and medical marijuana and that whole other discussion into should it be allowed in sports, so on and so forth, for pain reasons and everything else.
I've DVR'd the Dark Side of Football every week. I just haven't gotten a chance to start watching them yet. But I've heard good things about the show.
Yeah, it was really good. Couple other quick hitters. Montana Fouts, the softball pitcher from Alabama, threw the first ever perfect game in the Women's College World Series yesterday. So congratulations to her. I am completely enthralled with this Women's Softball College World Series. I've watched the regionals. I've watched the super regionals. I'm the first game kicks off at noon today. The second game's at 2. I'll be watching both of those. Like, it has been exciting. It's been great games. You give stellar performances. And this is just one thing that, you know, as you're watching it, you really don't realize and appreciate, okay, wow, like that's the first ever perfect game thrown in the Women's College World Series. Like, and
I'm shocked to be from all the, you know, big time pitchers they had during, you know, ever in softball.
Yeah, so like Jenny Fitch never did it. You know what I mean? Like you had
Osterman never did it.
Yeah, like no, she's the first one.
They had two this year. I think this might be the second perfect game.
Yeah, but this was the first one in the
World Series.
But they have 2 in a season. That's
yeah.
I mean, what's that on? Is it on ESPN, Fox,
ESPN, ABC?
Are there any perfect hitters in the major league right now? Or any perfect games?
In the major leagues, no.
Perfect games right now.
Not this year. But just a bunch of no hitters.
Yeah, all no hitters. Yeah, no perfect.
I think they've had 2 perfect games so far.
Yeah. NBA playoffs are in full swing with coming to the conclusion of round 1. The Lakers and LeBron James got eliminated by the Suns. So this is the first time since 2010 that the NBA Finals will not have Steph or LeBron in it. That's crazy.
Long time.
That's crazy. I mean, is LeBron the most criticized and hated athlete that we've seen?
It kind of feels like Ben Payton and Tom's era.
I don't know if I've ever seen the bashing of the greatest player in a generation in any sport as we've seen with LeBron. And I don't know if that's just because he's been touted as the greatest since he was 15, 16 years old and was having high school games on ESPN. And, you know, you get built up, and we see this in wrestling, right? You get built up to a point and then automatically you're just going to be hated. Like, and it's time to turn heel, right?
Yeah,
like, and you see it with you've seen it in the past with other athletes in sports. But I honestly don't think people appreciate enough what he's done for the game of basketball while he's played and while he's still playing. I watched the I Am Athlete podcast with Brandon Marshall. Shout out to them, Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor, Ocho Cinco. What those guys do over there on that podcast is tremendous. If you don't watch it, go check it out. They have really deep conversations. They cross multiple sports, talk about a lot of issues, not just on the field, but off the field. And it's a great watch. But they had Dwayne Wade on, and they asked Dwayne Wade who his greatest of all time is. And Dwayne Wade said, well, my greatest of all time is MJ. And they were like, well, why didn't you say LeBron? And Dwayne Wade was like, well, LeBron's still playing. Mm-hmm. For me, you can't have that conversation until the person is done playing. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, that conversation for LeBron has been going on for the past 10 years, but statistically speaking and everything else, like when he's all done and where he ranks and what he's done over the course of his career, he's going to be in the conversation as the greatest of all time.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and you can break that up into different things. You know what I mean? Like you can say Jordan was the greatest winner of all time. LeBron had the greatest career of all time because he finished 1 or 2 in every single statistical category. If you look at his playoff statistics, out of like the main 10 that they go off of, he's number 1 in like 6 or 7 out of those 10. So it's just.
Do you think while Jordan was playing, they were thinking Jordan was the greatest of all time then? Or were they thinking Bill Russell?
I mean, you had Magic, you had Bird, you had Russell, you know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, but while they're playing, they're probably thinking Bill Russell's the greatest of all time, you know?
Well, and they so like on the pod, they were talking, they're like, well, Bill Russell's the greatest winner of all time. Mm-hmm. He had 11 championships. Like, so like it's just, you know, it's subjective. Obviously, it is. You know, and D Wade was like, look, I got into basketball because I was a kid in Chicago that grew up in the inner city that watched Michael Jordan. So to me, Michael Jordan will be the greatest of all time in my eyes. Like, there's just not going to be anybody out there. He goes, but you may have another kid that grew up in Cleveland that's going to say LeBron James is the greatest of all time. So like, there's greatest of all time in eras. It's
not definitive.
It's never going to be definitive. It's really not. Like,
I think there's going to be a long generation of people who still think Jordan's the greatest until his sneakers stop selling.
I mean,
that just gives you a reason to go back, because even like kids coming up now.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan's known for his sneakers more than his playing career now, which is crazy. But like,
yes, it is.
So like, I just think the LeBron bashing is something that I think is unwarranted, and the greatness that you see and that you have seen throughout his entire career, and who knows how many more years he's going to play, is something that's been completely underappreciated. And I think a lot of people are going to wake up one day later on after he's retired and go, man, I got to witness one of the greats of all time play this game.
I'm a LeBron basher. On the court, off the court, the guy's
he's a great man.
Yeah, stand-up guy.
He's good. Yeah, he's a good guy off the court. He's very good.
Off.
Man, he's a very good guy off the court.
Yeah,
I'll never bash
him
about that. Never.
On the court, I'll find a reason.
You would. What the other thing that I had? Hold on 1 second. Let me get it pulled up. So we have the Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul exhibition tonight.
Oh my gosh!
Fighting in.
I was going to bring that up, but I'm glad you said it in the
Hard Rock Stadium down there in Miami. If you don't know, Chad Ochocinco is fighting on the undercard.
Who's he fighting?
I have no idea who he's fighting.
Who he fighting?
But yesterday's press conference, he said he was pissed because he had to eat healthy for the last 2 months of his training.
Just listening to that man talk about people eating healthy is just hilarious.
I'm gonna call up one of our friends.
The fact that he's never gotten a McDonald's sponsorship or deal, is insane, because the man literally eats there 3 times a day every day. God. So, but no, for the Floyd Logan Paul fight, no winner or judges. Knockouts are allowed. 8 3-minute rounds. 12-ounce gloves, no headgear. 190-pound weight limit for Logan Paul. There was little videos this week that came out with Logan Paul in training and he was working the gloves, right? So he's working the gloves, he's hitting the gloves, and his trainer that's doing the gloves, he did a little feint to the body and then came over top and like hit him right on the jaw with the glove. And it's like, this is not even going to be.
There you go.
Not even going to be fair. Like, if this goes all 8 rounds, Floyd Mayweather strictly did this for the bag. Strictly. And he's come out and said that he made $30 million just leading up to the fight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I believe it. No man's one hell of a negotiator when it comes to money.
They won't get my money. I'll follow along on Twitter.
They won't get my money.
I'm not paying to watch this.
I'm about to call one of our friends, see if he's getting it.
What happened to Chris? Anybody know what happened to Chris?
If it's not about peg weights, he's not gonna.
Hey, he is.
You brought up the pens. You summoned Chris.
No, we were just talking about the Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul fight and how they're not going to get any of our money.
No, not at all.
I seen an article saying the Paul brothers revolutionized boxing, and I didn't click on it. I was not.
Yeah. That person's probably. That
person's probably dropping out.
That hot tag.
That person is probably 7 years old.
Oh man,
who wrote that? Well, one thing we can discuss while Steve's not here. The Belmont is today, and when there's no Triple Crown going on, it's basically just a regular race now.
This is the third one, right?
Momentum without
This
the
is
Triple Crown.
yes, this is the
Final
third
leg?
of the Triple Crown. Yeah, the
Okay.
third leg. But if a horse ain't chasing the Triple Crown, it's just a regular race basically.
Yeah.
And Medina Spirit got hit again for the second time for the Derby thing, positive test. So the trainer Bob Bradford is suspended until 2023's spring meet. So
To me, that
Got
means
like-
you got to pull out your horses too.
huh?
To me, that mean you got to pull out your horses too.
it might. I'm not sure. Yeah. So he's going.
I mean, that was the hot topic at the Preakness.
Mm-hmm. So today.
So it's going to be all about today too. Especially with this ruling, and they kept saying, there needs to be like unified rules, on this stuff, and does the government get involved with this now and set something up, or
And Medina Spirit's running in this race still. Yeah.
So can I walk up to the gate and demand my money back?
Yeah. So the horse is still running in the race, which is insane. Cheating ass horse.
I have a
who do you think
special
is going to win?
I have a special guest sitting here live watching me as I podcast. So
Who's gonna win the race? I could care less. I'm just gonna watch it just to watch it. And probably the cheating ass horse is gonna win.
It looks like Essential Qualities was the favorite whenever I looked into it this week.
Okay. So the one who I wanted to win the Derby is the favorite now.
Looks like Essential Quality, then Rombauer, and then Hot Rod Charlie.
Okay, Rumbauer was the Preakness winner. Yeah, I can see that.
all right. I don't got nothing else for sports. Let's jump into let's jump into what do we at? One guy to go. All right, world famous, world renowned. One got to go this week. Coming hot off 2 weeks with trash takes and some podcast turmoil from the other three co that do this show on a weekly basis. I've been right all along, and I will continue my streak of being undefeated during this segment. So, with that being said, let's put up this week's one got to go.
You're a genius in your own mind, right?
That's all that matters in my own mind. Pat myself
Like
on the
Vince
back.
McMahon.
Somebody got to do it. All right, so this week's one got to go.
Ooh.
Bubblegum edition. Big League Chew, Bubble Tape, Bubblicious, or Bazooka? What are we going with here? There was a fifth contender for this list. The fifth contender for this list was the baseball bubblegum from back in the day. You play Little League growing up. Yeah, if you play Little League growing up, you used to get the baseball bubble gum that had home run, single, double written on it.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
That was a fifth consideration, but I figured we'll go with the Bazooka Joe comment or the Bazooka Joe comics, Bubblicious, Bubble Tape, and Big League Chew. What do you got?
Which one comes in the bucket?
Which one comes in a bucket?
That was the bubble tape.
In the bucket? No,
The bucket or the dispenser.
The yellow, the big bucket like you had doing while you play baseball in the bucket, the big with the yellow wrapper.
That was Bazooka.
No, Bazooka you unfolded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bazooka was
Bazooka had
unfolded.
the
I know you're talking about you're just talking about regular I don't know if that's Hubba Bubba or it might be Bubba.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It was the chalky pink stuff.
Well,
All of it's chalky pink stuff, right? And if you have chalky pink stuff in other scenarios, that's not good either. So
I'll go. Big League Chew, Bubble Tape, and Bazooka all reminds me of Little League, and I love baseball, so Bubblicious got to go.
I mean, any of these, you're getting what, 5-10 seconds of flavor max, and then it's destroying your jaw after that.
You might be able to stretch it out a little bit longer. Yeah, the flavor saver is not going to be there with any of these.
No, I mean, Big League Chew is just awesome. Like, you just felt like you were like a pro ball player whenever you tuck that into your chin. I'd probably go out of anything that just the flavor is really gone in a heartbeat would be Bazooka. Like anything else, you might get a little more flavor. Bazooka just doesn't hold its flavor at all. You get the cartoon, that's cool, but the flavor is not there.
The Richie Rich or Archie cartoon.
Archie, yeah.
Yeah, Archie. Jay, what do you got?
I'm looking around. I got a pack of Michael Jackson cards with bubblegum still in it. I was going to see how that tastes now. But
Wait. I don't know what's worse, the fact that you have God knows how many years old gum, or the fact that you have a pack of Michael Jackson cards.
Yeah, a couple pack.
I didn't know that Michael Jackson had cards.
Yeah,
Michael Jackson, he got
all that stuff. But I'm gonna go with, like Dawn said, A, B, and D remind me of baseball, and I got to stock Bubblicious at work. I hate that shit.
No watermelon Bubblicious. Like that's not making the cut.
Nah.
That's the only good Bubblicious, right? Is the watermelon?
Great.
We're not.
I'm gonna go
All right. I can rock with both of those choices.
Plain Bubblicious, nah.
For me, I'm gonna get rid of Bubblicious too. Again, this plays back in summer days on the ball field, all-star tournaments, all that jazz. Nothing like a pack of Big League Chew in your baseball bag growing up.
I think I still got a pack of Big League Chew around here somewhere.
I might go buy a pack of Big League Chew after we're done. The gas station down the street sells it. Every morning I used to walk in to get a coffee and I'd see it and I'd be like, oh, Big League Chew. Get out there, play a doubleheader, one during the day and one under the lights in the All-Star tournament. Let's go.
Yes.
But yeah, no, we'll kick Bubblicious off the list for me this week. All right. So look at that. We got through a one gotta go where we didn't have anybody walk off the show,
argue,
or go into a tizzy, or have an argument there.
And yet Jason's chugging that Turner.
He's chugging it. Look at him.
He loves it. That's why. He loved the Turners.
For the show.
You get a little shaky or something? I mean, that's a long Turners to chug that quickly.
For the show.
Mm-hmm. You gonna start shaking?
I might. I feel it in my stomach.
You gonna get that? You gonna get that Terry Funk leg?
Maybe just go ahead and lay down.
All right, that's it for One Gotta Go this week. Hit us up. Let us know what we got. Join the conversation. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Let us know. Go over to YouTube. Leave a comment, and you can tell me I'm right and they're all wrong. That's okay.
Anything else?
Oh, that's a horse. That was the segue button, and you missed it. Something had to go wrong in this segment to get me riled up.
He's at home right now. He's not in his home element. He's shaking on his kicks.
And he cut you off. Just
that's not fair. Cut you off. Thanks for tuning in, guys, to episode 40. Make sure you like and follow us on all of our social media platforms of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Follow us at DumbMarksPod.
And YouTube.
You're
cutting out. You were freezing. I was trying to pick up where you were at. Yeah. This show sucks. God damn it.
Remember that our audio-only edition of the podcast is available every Monday wherever podcasts can be found. And especially don't forget that you can buy our Pro Wrestling Tees merchandise at prowrestlingtees.com/dumbmarkspod. We now have the logo, the After Dark, and our One Gotta Go shirt.
Yeah, I just copped that After Dark shirt, so I'm waiting for that to get here. So I will be wearing that during our next After Dark special.
I missed the sale because I wanted to pay full price for you.
There'll be another one for 4th of July.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody got anything else? Final thoughts? Wrap up the show. Anything we didn't cover, we missed that you want to talk about?
Dark Side of the Ring was very good this week.
Dark Side of the Ring was very phenomenal.
Check that out this weekend.
Yeah. It was the episode of this season that I was most looking forward to because I knew some of the backstory from Bruce Pritchard and Conrad's Something to Wrestle With podcast when they talked about Jake. So I was curious to see, how they would go into it. It's a very uncomfortable watch.
Yes.
For reasons that need to be brought to light. and I think they did an amazing job of highlighting those issues and stressing the severity of it and how important it is to speak up about it, talk about it, get help for it, and everything. So I was like I said, very uncomfortable watching it, but it was something that you know, not just a wrestling fan, just anybody in general needs to tune in and watch that episode because it covers topics that are very important and that need to be dealt with swiftly.
Definitely gonna check that out.
Anybody got anything else? Any plans for the rest of the weekend?
Lay on this damn couch.
I gotta run to Lowe's and figure out how to get rid of black carpenter ants.
Ooh,
I have a huge tree outside of my house, and these sons of bitches keep coming in, and I got to figure out what I need to do to get rid of them. So
we had them when I first moved up here, and we had to call the exterminator.
See, I don't normally I'll trim the tree and that will stop them from climbing over from the tree to the house, and I sprayed some stuff on the outside of the house, but I don't know, I'm gonna have to go buy some Zevo or something and do that to see if that'll help. I thought I like killed off the trail, so to speak, but yeah, they keep coming in, so I gotta figure out something to get rid of them.
Look at that.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in this week, as always, and I will leave you guys with a quote of positivity to wrap up the show this week before we sign off here. So, one day, a young student asked his professor, "What's the difference between school and life?" The professor replied, "In school, you're taught a lesson, and then you're given a test. In life, you're given a test that teaches you a lesson." And with that, I'm a Mark, you're a Mark. Thanks for tuning in, Marks. Tell a Mark. And until next time, you can catch us around the way.